congratulations on the Dove Award.
Thank you,
Um,
bro.
I saw your video, Contemporary Gospel Recorded Song of the Year, which is a mouthful for God Problems. So, like, what was that moment like for you? Obviously, we saw the moment in your face on the
Yeah.
Instagram, but what was that whole thing? What was running through your head as all that was happening?
Oh man, I honestly was not expecting them to call out that song. There was a lot of amazing people in nominated in that category. And this was, I think, the third time I believe it was nominated. So it was nominated at the K-Loves, it was nominated at the Grammys, and then so this was the third time. So I was just preparing myself, bro, just to, you know, clap for whoever else was about to walk up there, and but when they called it out, my manager was ready, sitting there with the phone recording, and and I was like really surprised, but it was definitely a moment where I was like, wow, God, my bad for not believing, for not having faith, but it was all good, man. It was exciting. Um, again, I've been writing songs for years, over the last maybe 10 years, um, writing songs for other artists, and so it was really cool, like a full circle moment just to see that happen for sure.
And that was your first one, right?
That's my first Dove Award. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So is now the goal to get one for one of your own like solo individual songs?
That's what we saying, bro. We got to get it, So my first year, I mean, it's been cool, bro. It's been like a very humbling experience, a lot of learning, a lot of just enjoying the process, you know what I'm saying? Because you can
Mhm.
get caught up in that whole rat race. But I like to compete, bro. I got that Mamba mindset, so I definitely know that a lot of these things are out of the artist's hands.
Right.
It's a lot of the industry, it's a lot of people behind the scenes. But I definitely go into sessions trying to give my best, and I try to write songs that I feel like will connect with the masses, and also songs that feel personal to me. But you know, we all know those things just open up the doors for more opportunities, more features, more songwriting sessions. So it's always a win when something like that happens. But it's definitely not like the goal, but it's always fun.
Right. You get to pad that resume now.
Yeah, bro, just
Dove
add it to the
Award winner.
resume. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man.
It's like, oh, sure, I'll talk to this guy now. I'll write a song with
Yeah,
this guy now.
yeah. Two-time Grammy nominated, Dove Award winning. We'll give it a shot. We'll see what's up.
All right, so let's go towards the Jabbawockeez thing. I saw the video preview for your song Dancing with Them.
Oh, did you
Um,
see it?
yeah,
They sent
yeah,
it to you? Oh, that's
yeah.
crazy.
I got the Eva Coming Down.
Yeah.
So what's the story with you being one of the original members? Like even on Wikipedia, I don't see your name there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what's
Well,
the
you got
story?
to understand Jabberwockies is a full-on enterprise now, so they have to
Right.
be very careful, understandably. And I was only there, you know, I feel like it's been part of my story too. God's just allowed me to, I've always been invited into greatness. So before Jabberwockies, I was a cheerleader, so I was a cheerleader with a competitive national cheer team that won nationals twice. Um, with over 150 other teams in the same
Wow.
division. And so we won that two years in a row. After that, right in the beginning, like this is back in the 90s, like 96, 95 or something like that. Maybe 90, yeah, early 90s, hip hop started coming on the scene, choreographed hip hop.
Right.
And so I got to join really in the beginning stages in San Diego with the team called Future Shock. And there was an older team called Culture Shock. Future Shock was the younger team. So I was a part of that. And then these guys from the Bay came down, Joe and Kevin, who started Jabbawockeez before Jabbawockeez was even a thing. They came down, they were a part of Culture Shock. I was like the young homie, always trying to hang around because they were just amazing. I was always just in awe of what they were capable of doing. And I was a younger dude, so I was always just trying to pick up on the new, on whatever could make me
Yeah.
better. Um, and so they would keep me around, and pick me up in their Honda Civic, and they were slumming it, one bedroom apartment, in San Diego, and we just vibe out and just spend all night, making up dances or kicking it, and I just learned so much from them. And they, Joe Larot, who's a founding member, he's the guy who came up with the name Jabberwocky, came up to me and was like, "Hey, bro, you want to be part of the Jabberwocky? You want to come be part of this team? We're starting this thing up, and we're wearing masks, and nobody knows who we are because in San Diego, it was kind of like we're all kind of known in the dance community, and so this gave us an opportunity to really let the art shine and
Yeah.
let the movement kind of speak to people. So I was young, bro. I was like maybe 14 years old,
Oh, wow.
kicking it with the homies. They were like 20, mid 20s and stuff, and it was just an honor just to hang out with the big homies. But I remember the first performance you probably saw on YouTube. But after that, I ended up moving away. God took me on another path, but I moved up to Northern California and then joined the Navy. And then that's when they got onto the show. So I was more like, the behind the scenes, man. Like I remember when they were creating the routine and we were in the studio late at night, creating the whole vibe. And, I was more of just a tag along. So, but they obviously brought me in, and I was an honorary Jabberwocky. But yeah, and the way that things are now, they're so global and everything, and they have owners now and stuff like that. So they got to be really careful with the language and all that stuff. So I mean, it's all love, but
Yeah.
I was just honored that they reached out and they wanted to collaborate on this song.
Yeah. Oh, so they reached out to you.
Yeah, my boy. I mean, me and Joe, we've been talking for a minute, and I remember congratulating them when they got on America's Best Dance Crew and always just following from a distance. But, I always kind of knew, you know, God had something in store for me personally, So I never wanted to be one of those homies that kind of like tried to jump on the wagon. They're worldwide, bro. So I just kind
Yeah.
of kept my head down, kept grinding myself, and I just had a feeling. I said, one day, you know, we'll be able to collaborate on something that feels like we're coming in as equals. So, I mean, definitely not equals because these guys, I mean, they're huge, but it was cool to get that text from Joe and him being like, "Bro, I love this song. We should try to do something." So that was really cool.
So was that the first time you've kind of busted out some good dance moves in a while for a
Bro,
song?
I was nervous. I was like
It
20
looked pretty
years.
good.
I mean, it was 20 years, bro. I mean, I hadn't danced in like 20 something years. And then he sent me the video on iPhone. So I had to try to learn the dance from, just this little video. But then he came over, our families, hang out, they'll come out here to California, go to Disneyland and stuff. We live like 15 minutes away from Disneyland. So they'll stop through and we kick it, and we both got kids that are the same age. So, he taught me in the living room a little of the steps and stuff. And yeah, man, I just
That's
was
cool.
praying for the best.
So do you think that's a one-time thing, or do you see more happening?
Man, I don't know. Hopefully we'll see. I mean, I would really love to collaborate on some more stuff, maybe not, maybe content stuff, but even maybe some shows. I'm hoping, we have some opportunities coming up, some big, and I mean, the goal is Madison Square Garden, baby, get up there, have the boys come out, that'd be kind of cool. So, we'll see what happens.
Hey man, I'm in New York, so I'll
Hey,
come
let's
check it out. I'll
go.
come check
What
it
what
out.
part of New York are you
I'm
in?
in Staten Island, so
Oh,
I got
let's go.
I got trees and grass and animals and not all the hustle and bustle, but still the
Yeah.
same strong accents.
Hey, I
Um,
feel that, man. I love New York, bro. I lived in Boston for 3 years, so I got a lot of
okay.
love for the East Coast. And then
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
just
yeah.
out in Brooklyn a couple weeks ago. And I mean, I always tell my wife, I was like, man, if we didn't live in California, I mean, I'd love to live in Brooklyn, bro. I just love the city. I love everything walking around, the culture. It's a vibe out there, bro, for
There,
sure.
there's something happening all around you with every heartbeat
Yeah,
that you have.
exactly, exactly. You gotta stay on your toes. I love it.
stimulated all the time.
Yeah.
So was there ever a moment, because then of course in the mid 2000s you had like Step Up, Stomp the Yard, You Got Served, Jabbawockeez Get on TV. Was there ever a moment where you were just like, oh man, that could have been me, or that should have been me?
100%, bro. I remember when I was watching them on TV and I was stationed in Boston. I just got out of boot camp. Um, and I was watching him. I was like, wow, I freaking missed it. Like I should have stayed, but the way it all worked out, I mean, I was, 14 years old. My, our living situation in San Diego switched up. So we had to move up north to Fresno area, which is Northern California. And, I was just so young, bro. I couldn't make it happen. I was thinking about going back down but I also felt like, you just feel those moments where God's just like, just trust me and just let me do my thing. And it felt like something I had to really kind of like let go. And I mean, that's why I felt like such a full circle moment, just being able to
Right.
do music, even the music that I'm doing, and they're not like high key religious Christian type homies. They have their faith and, they keep it pretty, low key. And me, I'm so high profile Christian. I'm a Christian artist, you know. Um, so that's what made it really cool for them to reach out. And I think this song too, being so neutral in a way where it's not very super high, Jesus religious, and it's just more of like good vibes, and
Yeah.
getting people in good spirits, a good song to start the morning off with. Um, but that's why it made the most sense to do this one.
Yeah, it's opening new audiences for both of you. So
Totally.
it's
Yeah.
perfect. And I mean, was there ever a thought with your dance background moving out of that hip hop sound to actually do rap for music and that be like a main thing?
Yeah, I wanted to, I mean, well, even a lot of my music, again, like
Has hip hop elements
has hip
to
hop
it.
elements in it, some R&B in it. I've always kind of tried to keep that in my music and in my style because I do come from a dance background. I got a lot of dancers and
Right.
and stuff that like that. So yeah, that's always been the part of me that I've tried to keep alive, just because it's part of my DNA. So yeah, hopefully, and I get it all the time. They're like, why don't you dance on stage, and do the Chris Brown thing? And then I'm like, that's a lot of work, bro, and I'm getting a little, I'm a little older now and it's been years since I really danced like that, but I always got love for it. So I always try to make sure that it's in my music for sure.
Hey man, the nostalgia of boy bands and everybody from like 20 years ago is huge now. So
It's
you
coming
get
back, bro.
you
Maybe
get
I got to
yourself
do it.
get yourself a nice backing band, put a
Yep.
backing dance band, I would
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
dance
Exactly.
group, and you're set.
Yep,
Um,
for real.
so obviously as an artist now you use TikTok and Instagram Reels and different things to showcase your music, but thinking back as a dancer and even coming up during that time period on other things you were doing, how do you think like TikTok or Reels, social media in general, would have changed the whole game for everything that you guys were doing?
Oh my gosh, bro. It would have been next level. I mean, I also think too, who knows, bro? Because this generation it's just different now. People have evolved over the
Yeah.
past couple of years of just having, it in their hands, being able to have access to everybody. I don't know. I wonder if it would have been the same just because, like, you know, everything has its rollout, organically. I remember when Jabberwocky first came out and we did our first performance and it was just so organic, word of mouth and people in the audience and like, oh, nobody was filming on their phones. They just experienced it,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
so it was like this real impact on people. And then and then it was like this whisper. People were talking, and did you see the Jabberwocky? Who's the Jabber? And people, it was really word of mouth back in the day. And I think that really helped out with a lot of stuff. And it gives people time to develop too, gives you time to, hone in on the craft. I think now I mean, there's amazing people on TikTok, amazing people on Reels. But even for myself, sometimes I can feel like so pressured in putting something out that's not fully crafted yet, that
Yeah.
I kind of take away. It's like what they say. It's like, keep it to yourself until you're ready to really reveal it, or else you kind of give away the energy from it,
Yeah.
and that's the same with art. So many people want to get the art out fast, but fast art has never really been that great of art. There it is good, there's great in it, but I think the best stuff is stuff that's kind of kept in the secret, for a little bit, hone in on it, develop it, and really get it to a place that you really feel like, okay, I can really present this. But I feel like that's like it's kind of like a lost way of doing things, these days. So
Well, you only have, one chance to get it right the first time, right? So
30, you only got 30 seconds these days now.
30
Yeah,
se yeah,
30, 30
you
seconds
don't
or
even have it.
less.
You don't even have a chance. You have a moment,
A
like a quick
moment, bro.
moment
A
to
blink of an eye.
hit with that impact.
Yep.
So, so speaking of that, and you were surprised that they had sent me the video. When is that rolling out? When is that coming out? And how many different, is it just that one clip, or do you have like tons and tons of different clips?
Yeah, we have several different clips. We have some interviews. An interview with both of them, the two founding members, Kevin and Joe, at their studio in Las Vegas. Just vibing, just talking about how they got their start. Talking about obviously my demographic is more focused on faith, and so asking them some questions on like what does it look like in the industry with your faith, and I mean because they've been everywhere, bro. They've done it all.
Yeah.
They've been with everyone. So just asking those real type questions that, I got a project coming out in January 17th. My album Real Love is going to be
Yep.
dropping. So there's more questions towards that, like what does real love look like to you? How do you, walk in real love in the shoes you're walking in right now with what you have going on? And I think it's really interesting. There's a lot of stuff, you get to hear from them that you normally wouldn't hear from them on a normal interview. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. And with Real Love coming out, I know every artist is, their next project or their next song is their favorite thing, the best thing they've ever done. So
Yeah.
how until you do the next project. But how long have you been working on these songs and kind of crafting this album and putting it together? And what are you most excited about for it?
Man, I mean, you're right. It's always, you get done with it, you work on the next song, and that's your favorite song,
Yep.
and so it's been kind of the learning curve, especially with just the way labels are and different things. I would release if I could, but having a good team around me that helps me learn how to market, learns how to, for me, it's more storytelling these days, learning how to really bring people into the journey. So we've been developing that this past year, but I mean, we wrote a lot of these songs in 2023. So yeah, almost a year, bro. Over 2 years of waiting, for these songs to come out. But some of them not so much. Like Ever Coming Down, that was a pretty quick turnaround on that, and that got released out pretty soon.
Yeah.
Um, Songs like Better Days went viral on Instagram. Had a moment, so it kind of gave us the opportunity to release it a lot sooner. It wasn't even on the list for me and my team at one point. And then we just put up a demo and went crazy, and now it's like up for consideration for a Grammy, which is amazing. And so it was just a demo we released, but things like that. So we've just been kind of rolling with the flow and seeing what happens. But yeah, we've been grinding on this project, man, over 2 years.
Amazing, amazing. And since this is Rapzilla, are there any people within Christian hip hop that you'd love to collaborate? Maybe you're even collaborating with some of these people on your project, which I don't know yet.
Ooh. Oh man, well yeah, I'm a huge rap fan. I mean, you know, uh, hopefully in the future it would be dope to have people like Andy Mineo. He's a legend.
Hmm.
Obviously Lecrae. I just met KB at the DoU Awards.
Okay. Yep.
Started following me on Instagram. We've been going back and forth. That's been really cool. Um, Social Club Misfits. Those guys are legends and just the homies. They live real close. They live in Orange County. Um, Yeah, there's a new boy. His name's Zonti. He's this white boy.
Zonti.
Yeah, he's really dope, and he's just I love his passion, and I could see he's a real one. So, and I met him too. So yeah, we actually going to Atlanta in November to do a whole writing camp with a bunch of these guys. No Big Deal is fire. John
Yep.
Keith, the whole indie tribe, Miles Minnick. I mean, there's so many that are just coming up right now, bro. It's been just like amazing to see that wave. And so I've been able to tap in with most of them, you know. Again, I come from a more my evolution as an artist has been so crazy, you know, where I came out, my first song was Heart of the Father, you know, and it was a very straight CCM radio type song, worship for the church type song. But you know, you got to get through the door somehow, and I've always been in my DNA just for that, you know,
Yeah.
R&B, hip hop, soul, neo soul type vibes. So I've tried to sneak it in there on these different projects, but I know, you know, the demographic and, you know, we're trying to serve the people, you know. So it's been interesting trying to figure out how to ease them into it. But social media has just changed the whole game, you know, where before
Absolutely.
coming into Christian music, nobody would pay attention to you unless you had a radio song. But now you can just release on Instagram. So since then, you know, we've been taking a little bit more of an aggressive stance on kind of the demographic we're trying to go after and the vibes we're trying to put out. But so yeah, it's been cool to tap in with those boys, and you know, I'm hoping to do all of them, bro. You know, I don't mind. I would love to be like the new Kirk Franklin, you know, and tap in with all the boys. You know, I'm trying to get Kanye. Love to do, you know, all these types, you know, of different influencers, man, and people who have already paved the way.
Yeah, that's dope. And I'm glad you got into that a little bit because as I'm listening through your music and looking at different things, I was like, what genre is this guy? Like
It's
what
Ryan Ellis,
like
bro. That's what it is.
yeah,
You know,
like
the genre is Ryan Ellis. It's just, it's definitely, you know. Again, I got out of the Navy in 2011. Got back from Afghanistan. I was pretty messed up, and I just had this real encounter with God, you know, and really what brought me a lot of peace. You know, I suffered with a lot of PTSD coming back. Um, and the only place I really found peace was just in worship, you know. And it's a whole different vibe. Again, I grew up listening to West Side Connection, you know. I grew up listening to Ice Cube and
yeah.
Biggie and Tupac and everything, bro. I mean, at a young age, probably when I shouldn't have been listening to those guys, but you know, so I was deep in the culture. I knew, and it was always a part of me. But for some reason, a season of my life where I really got centered and I really found God and I got to understand who He was and what, you know, what He thought about me, you know, which is a huge thing. Was sitting there in the presence, bro, and just kind of playing my acoustic guitar, singing out worship songs, and I needed peace in my life, and it really brought peace. So worship was a huge part of my life for a season. But then again, you know, you evolve as a person. You learn that, man, okay, well, what makes me unique and the reason why God loves me and the reason why God loves you and loves all of us is because we are unique. We're
Yeah.
all like a different color of crayon in the crayon box, you know? So some of us trying to be, you know, turquoise. Some of us are all trying to be the same color or try to be the same vibe. And it's like, okay, well, what does Ryan Ellis sound like? And so when you listen to my music, you can hear the evolution of me stepping out, you know? And so my first project was a live living room worship type vibe because it's always been, how can I serve the people that are in front of me, you know? So we were doing a ministry in Santa Barbara, and so that was more, the first album I released was all more worship, and then the second project was more pop, hip hop influenced. And I've
Yeah.
always kind of done like a worship, and then I've also done a vibey one. So even from the very beginning, I've been doing that. So it's more or less just trying to keep the consistency for sure.
Were you always obviously you did dance before the military or the Navy, you said, right? So were you always musically inclined or like how did you discover that upon coming back and trying to, I guess for lack of a better word, overcome some of the things that you saw?
Yeah. I mean, I'm Filipino, bro, so you know, it's in my blood. You know, it's like
You got
my
rhythm.
mom, she's an amazing singer. You know, grew up in a musical household and at a young age, you know, I was auditioning for, you know, Broadway shows and, you know, did musical theater growing up, did
Okay.
choir, you know, wrote my own songs. but I didn't really find like, I don't know, it didn't really click for me. I didn't really, honestly, to be honest, I didn't really think it was possible. I didn't think it was something that was like a real dream because there was no Bruno Mars, there was no Anderson Paak, and we know in this game it's all culture, bro. It's
Hmm.
all political in a lot of ways. And I kind of just I didn't see my mom too. My mom could sing like Whitney Houston, bro. She was amazing, but she's a Filipino girl, and she look Asian, and it's kind of not a vibe, and even to this day, it's not like, now you have more people that look mixed, but if you black, it's up right now for you, bro, because you got culture. There's a whole backing of people, and I think, that's as even, Asian, Pacific Islander, all these, we're still kind of breaking through the door. So I kind of just was rolling with it, bro. I did it because I loved it, and it was just in my blood, and it was came natural to me. But I didn't really see any open doors for it. And then when I joined the Navy after high school, you know, I had this moment where I was like, bro, this ain't you. Like I was gonna go special forces, and I was really gonna
Wow.
commit my whole life to it, and which was an honor. It would have been an honor, and I was motivated and I loved it, but I also felt like, man, there was something I was created for was way different than this thing. And so when I got out of the Navy, um, and I found God in my life, it was kind of like this childlike faith reignited with music. And so I just kind of started with the basics until I evolved to be able to get into the rooms with Grammy award winning producers um, and writers and really being like, okay, well, I'm gonna try to swing for the fences now. So you can hear that's where the evolution and the styles have changed a little bit because I was able to work with better people.
Right. And you mentioned you didn't think it was possible. So for you, when did it become possible for you?
That was a thing. It didn't really like click in my head like, oh, this is possible. I just started running after God, bro. It's always been a mission to connect with people, So it's when I started doing these worship nights just by myself, because I needed it, for myself to get some peace and quiet in my brain. It was just me, one of my boys, in a coffee shop that let us use their coffee shop after it closed. And we would just sing out to the Lord, bro. And we would just freestyle, really. And so it started with that. And then we started seeing miracles. We started people getting healed. We started people, you know, find that peace. And so it didn't really become a thing of, oh, this is possible. I can do this. It was more like, all right, this is a calling, and
It's happening.
it's happening. It's really helping people and it's helping me. And so I just kept following that, bro.
Awesome. That's amazing, man. All right. So my last question for you, obviously the album is coming up, but what else can we look forward to? What's happening? Is it a tour? Do we have music videos? Is there something else that maybe your audience is waiting on that you've been teasing or you're just gonna drop a surprise? Like what's going on in the life of Ryan Ellis?
Man, yeah, I have it's always, it feels like it's about to get busy. I can feel it in my spirit. We have project being released, we're just coming off the Doves, up for, consideration for the Grammys, writing camps coming up, a lot of amazing introductions with artists that I've always wanted to work with. So potential collaborations, coming up. But the biggest one is hopefully a headline tour in 2025. Getting a Ryan Ellis tour going, getting people to come out to that, and just figure out, what kind of mood, what kind of vibe we're trying to set for the night. So a lot of stuff coming up in 2025, bro. It's gonna be amazing.
So the tour is still in planning stages?
We're still in planning stages. We have a couple of openers and different things like that, but we've been doing some shows this year and just getting an amazing response from a lot of people. So, I mean, some of the best responses I've heard in a long time. So, they're really excited and they're like, yeah, man, we're going to get this going 2025. So, It's good. It was nice, like little warm up. You know, it was interesting because I came out the gate in 2020, bro, right during COVID. You know, so I signed my deal uh February 2020. You know, released
Oh man.
my first song. You know, I'm a COVID baby, bro,
Yeah.
in a sense. You know, and
You
I
sign a
mean,
deal and then everything gets shut down a month
everything was
later.
shut down,
Crazy.
bro. And you know, you can't tour, you can't show your face. And so, you know, our song, you know, Heart of the Father went number 2 on radio, you know, was, you know, top 5. And everyone knows that song. If I go to any church in America, sing that song, people know it, but they don't know what I look like, you know? And so it was kind of hard because, you know, I couldn't tour. I had a number 2, you know, then it's 2021, 22, and then you're writing new material and you're doing little one-offs here and there, and things are still slowly opening up. And, you know, they got bigger acts that need to get the shows first. And so kind of waiting my turn, you know, in a way. But in that time doing a lot of work, you know, writing with Maverick City, writing, you know, with other people, putting out my own music, you know, trying my best to keep doing shows. And so now it feels like it's finally time to do some Ryan Ellis shows, Ryan Ellis tours.
Yeah, man. And everyone finally gets to hear the music that you've been working on for 2 years, as now you're starting to write new music. It's always
Yep.
funny how
Yeah.
that works.
I mean, I got 2 more projects ready to go to be released, bro. Yeah, we
Oh,
nonstop.
wow.
Yeah, man. So I think you like it too, bro. I'll try to send you some of the demos because it is a
Okay.
little bit more, you know, I'm trying to go more into that direction of more hip hop, you know, in a way. But just paint the whole vibe, man. I mean, it's an experience. I want people to experience a full encounter, you know, and not just one thing. You know, again, I'm Filipino. um I've just been a fan of all cultures, you know, from the John Mayer type vibes, you know, to the Bruno vibes, to Coldplay vibes, to, you know, Ye vibes, to Drake vibes, everything, you know, just been loving it all. And these are the people that I'm inspired by. So, you know, you kind of get a full package deal with me. You kind of get a little bit of everything.
Now you hear it. And I'm glad you said you have music beyond this project because so many people are focused on the one album or whatever that they're making that they fail to capture what's happening in their life in those moments.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like you can record a song and put that out later. You might not be in that moment later, but you're in it now. So capture that. Um,
Yep.
so it looks like that's what you did, and that's super dope.
Yeah, bro.
All right, man. Well, thank you so much. This has been great. I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't know too much about you coming into this, and I feel like myself and our audience especially is gonna have like a great understanding of you, and will appreciate the music and kind of your life story. It's amazing.
Thank you, bro. Well, thank you for having me. That's why we do this, you know, let the people know. And yeah, man, I'm just encouraged by all the love and the support on this crazy journey. And thanks for everybody for being so patient and understanding, because I know it is a little bit all over the place, but we're developing it. And I feel we're really honing down on what the next mission is with the Lord for sure.
Yeah, man. I can't wait to see it. God bless you and good luck on this next part of your journey. It's gonna be super dope. Can't wait to see you at the garden.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man.
I'm
Let's get it.
trying. I'm
Yeah,
waiting.
let's
I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for the email to come in. I'm like, yo, I'm there. I'm there.
it's gonna happen, my boy. 100%.